Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk? I'm a 40-year-old female. And am I a jerk for not giving my daughter, a 20-year-old female, what I got for her in my stimulus? I'm sure this is repetitive, but I've seen mixed opinions on each post that I see. Today I received my stimulus, and my daughter was supposed to get hers past ones with her taxes, but this current one was sent to me because she has yet to file since dependents qualified this time. I received the $1,400 stimulus, and she should get her past ones in her taxes this year. Well, today my daughter asked if she could get her portion as she is trying to move back out with my granddaughter. I told her she should have filed independently if she wanted to get it. She got livid and said she only let me claim her last year because I was the one who needed the money, and she wouldn't have let me claim her if she knew we'd be in a pandemic. I said fair, but I feel like she's in my household anyway, so I deserve the money. My daughter thinks it's selfish that I won't give her the money, and has been pretty upset with me since. Alright, OP. I mean, I guess this really depends on the circumstances here. If this is her money and she needs this money, then I mean, you should be giving her her stimulus money. Like, if this is meant for her, then yeah, it's her stimulus money. And it also sounds like she's being shorted for the stimulus money because you claimed her last year and you needed to claim her for financial reasons. So really, if she doesn't get this money back, so I think the scenario is this. If she files her taxes and then that money comes to her, then yeah, she can get the back payments from her taxes. I don't know how any of that works, but if this money is actually her money, then no, I think it would be wrong to keep it. So I think that I would need to know a little bit more details about how that stimulus money is going to be handed back to her if she files. Because if she's getting like the full stimulus amount, then like, yeah, no, she should be fine. It's just a matter of her filing her taxes. But if it's more of a matter of she's never going to get that money, then I do think that you should help her out here and give her her portion. So it really just depends. It sounds like she doesn't qualify as your dependent for 2020, and she's an adult. You're the jerk, give her the money, it's hers. Well, she will have to pay it back because legally she will not be able to claim her daughter as a dependent for 2020. And if that's the case, then I mean, then she's going to need to have that money anyways to pay it back. So if her daughter files and then gets her stimulus, then, you know, it's just going to be a matter of being like, well, now I owe the government money, so can you please pay me back the money I gave you? I'm talking from the OP's perspective here. So really, the smart thing might actually be for her to hold on to this, for OP to hold on to this money until they file for taxes, because if they have to pay back this money for some reason, then it's going to really hurt them if their daughter has a portion of that. You're the jerk, you basically stole from your own daughter. Also, from the additional info, it sounds like she isn't even your dependent. Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about taxes. I mean, if she didn't have the certain income threshold or whatnot, then she could still be claimed as a dependent. And being a dependent, you know, gives you a larger, you know, deduction, standard deduction. So I can definitely see why she would want to be able to claim her daughter and potentially her granddaughter as a dependent, because that would be quite a deduction. So again, I'm more inclined to lean towards OP being a jerk here, just because it seems like they're stealing from their daughter. But the thing is, like, if their daughter ends up filing and gets the money in the after they file for taxes, and then the mother has to pay things back, then not a jerk. It really just depends. It could very well go one way or the other. All right, before we move on, let's have a little bit of tea. Today I have a... Oops, I just bashed the microphone, as always. Today I have a raspberry cream pie tea here. This is again from Amber's collection. It's another David's tea. And it's pretty okay. It definitely has a raspberry flavor to it. The raspberry is mostly what I taste. So it kind of tastes more like just a raspberry tea to me. I think if I had added like almond milk or oat milk to it, probably would have given it more cream flavor to it. But I kind of just wanted to taste this one on its own just to see what it is. It's a bit of a tart tea. It has a little bit of a natural sweetness to it, but also a natural kind of sour to it. And yeah. It's a very light tea. So it's not bad. I actually enjoy it a bit. And today, I actually am using Amber's Pink Nessie. And the Pink Nessie is part of the collection I was talking about yesterday. So it's just a fun little tea infuser here. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Going Public About My Miscarriage? I'm a 32-year-old female, and I had a miscarriage a couple weeks ago. My husband and I were both really upset, but equally, I've tried not to dwell on it. It was our first time trying, and it was only 6 weeks, and I know it's incredibly common. My mom has had one, my sister's had one, my grandmother had a few, so while I was upset, I knew it was something, and I just had to push through. Because it was still so early, we hadn't told any of the family about the pregnancy yet, but I had told one of my close friends, as she had guessed it. So of course, after I lost the baby, I had to have the sad call and let her know. After she comforted me for a bit, she said, so when you're going to tell people? I explained that only she had known, so that the hardest part was now over, etc. She then said I still needed to go public with it. And I said, what? I was really confused and asked what she meant, and she said I should post about it on Instagram and Facebook, as miscarriages should be normalized, and that as I've had one, it's my responsibility to all women who've miscarried to announce and normalize it. I was just completely confused and annoyed at this point, firstly because it isn't her place to push me into announcing it, second because I've already said no, and lastly because I don't think miscarriages need to be normalized. As, the way I see it, they already are. All grown women know about them, know how common they are, and many experience them themselves, especially in the early stages like I was. If I had had a stillbirth or a second or third term miscarriage, then maybe I would have posted a brief comment explaining what had happened, but only if I already announced the pregnancy online. But at this stage, that hadn't happened, and it was no one's business but mine and my husband's. I explained this as best as I could to her, but she just got really annoyed and embarrassed and hung up. We haven't spoken since, and neither my family nor my husband think I'm in the wrong, but I thought an outside opinion couldn't hurt. So, am I a jerk for not going public with my miscarriage? I just wanted to add this in case people thought this. My friend has not experienced a miscarriage, so I genuinely don't know where this is coming from. Alright, OP. You know, I don't think you're a jerk here, and if you sincerely feel like miscarriages aren't stigmatized, and you haven't experienced any stigma yourself, then I can certainly understand why you wouldn't. I do think that there's some stigmatism behind miscarriages, because I do know that some folks, when they say that they've had a miscarriage, some people will jump to blaming them for it and saying things like, well, did you do X, Y, and Z, or did you make sure to blah, blah, blah. So I think there is some minimal stigmatism about it. But for the most part, you know, miscarriages happen a lot. Up to 50% of all pregnancies are actually miscarriages. Only 15% are actually miscarries that are known. So only 15% of known pregnancies are miscarried. But up to 50% of all pregnancies may be terminated through miscarriage. And that was just a statistic that I'll see if I can link that statistic in the comments below here or on the screen or something like that. But yeah, that's it's a pretty common thing, like you said. And so these happen a lot. And with no one in your family knowing and without a lot of people knowing about it, it might make things even more awkward or even harder to get over for you. Maybe you just kind of want to move on and move past the grief and basically, continue to try. And I think that's a healthy response here. It's not like you feel like you need to vent your feelings to the world. So that's kind of my opinion. I think it's just one of those things where you don't feel like you really need to talk about this. It's not really a platform you want to take up. And you and your friend just have had a bit of a disagreement. So hopefully you two can work things out. Hopefully she can start to understand things from your perspective, that you're not doing this because like you're embarrassed of the miscarriage, but you're doing it because in order for you to heal, maybe you need to kind of just move on and not think about this. So, maybe if you explain it in terms of like that, she'll be a little more receptive. So, yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, you have a right to privacy. You can reduce stigma in other ways. You can allow yourself to be open to conversations with others. You can tell others in a week, a month, or a year if you want to. Right now, you survive and you look after yourself. No one has the right to your history or your future unless you choose to share it. And OP replies, "Thank you, this made me tear up a little bit. I'm sure in a few years I might end up talking about it with a family member or a friend should the topic come up. But I'm incredibly private, so this isn't something I would ordinarily want to discuss, especially not online a week after." So yeah, it sounds like you really just need the space here to heal. So anyhow, OP, take care and good luck. Alright, our final letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for not letting my mother buy stuff for my unborn child?" My partner and I are expecting our first and only genetically related child in May. We plan on adopting in the future. I won't be carrying any more children after this due to health reasons. It's a girl. My mother has repeatedly offered to buy various things for the baby, and every time I have refused politely. There are two reasons for this. The first, my sister had a girl a bit over a year ago and has given me a ton of baby stuff that her daughter has outgrown. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law had twins about 3 years ago and have also given me a ton of their stuff. Hubby and I also have great jobs and we can easily afford anything else we may need. The second, and more importantly reason, is that my mother has a chronic habit of giving you something and then holding it over you to get you to do stuff. I've discussed this with her before and she refuses to acknowledge the problem, so now I just don't let her give me stuff. Evidence: a bread maker she gave me as a wedding gift and then requested a loaf of bread every fortnight. Bought us a weed eater for our anniversary and then complained that we didn't start mowing her lawn. Bought my sister a bassinet and complains frequently on Facebook about how my sister doesn't visit with my niece even after she bought her a bassinet. My sister lives 4 states away. This came to a head last weekend when she showed up at our house unannounced and told me to get ready to go baby shopping. I said no and reminded her why. She escalated things into tears and accused me of not letting her be a grandmother, and I ended up asking her to leave. She then put up a massive post on Facebook about how mean and neglectful her daughters are, and now extended family are harassing me about it. My sister and hubby both have my back, but it's causing a huge issue with the rest of my family, especially my younger brother and dad, who both think I'm the jerk. So, am I a jerk? OP, the problem is that people like your mom can't be trusted to give you gifts. Like, she's literally, what's going to happen here. If she gives you a gift, then she's going to hold it over your head and she's going to basically, use it against you forever. And that's a problem. It would be different if she acknowledged the problem and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I forget that sometimes I do this. I don't know why I do it or any number of things. But this is a real issue, and it's a really control issue here. And you don't want to be guilted into doing things for your mom because she's bought you things, and you don't want to feel that obligation. And I certainly think that's fine. So I don't think you're a jerk here. I think the rest of your family kind of needs to mind their own business. I'm surprised the rest of your family doesn't really see this behavior. So I would wonder if this is just something she does for you and your sister, or you and your sister's families. So maybe talk to your brother about it and your dad and ask them their experiences with this and see where they're coming from. And maybe even hold an intervention. Explain potentially to your family members who are harassing you in a letter or an email, and tell them the situation, explain why you're doing this, and hopefully that'll be enough to satiate their rage for a little while. But again, I don't think that you're the jerk here, and maybe if you explain this in these terms to other people, they'll also see why you would be really reluctant to have your mother do things for you. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, reason 2 is a massive issue. She can still be a grandmother without buying things for the baby. It's not as if you're taking that away from her. Exactly. Yes, if strings are attached, then it's not a gift, but it's a trap. I've said similar things to that. Anyway, if the relatives keep harassing her, then OP should just ask them if now it's okay to harass pregnant women. I think they might back off really quickly. Agreed, not the jerk. And if I were OP or anyone in her family, the next time she pulls strings on something she bought, I'd drop it on her mom's front porch and with a note saying, "We don't want or need this that bad." I also think the standard response to someone stirring up things on social media is to make your own post telling the truth about the situation. End it with a statement that this is no one else's business, and anyone trying to make it their business will be put on a timeout for 30 days. I also might suggest that OP give up social media for the rest of her pregnancy. Giving up social media, that might be a good idea. That's some solid advice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.